This is Revved Up Reflections for Sunday night, airing at 7 p.m. I was watching some racing the other night, road racing, and it looks like it was going downhill pretty much. I mean, yeah, the bikes are faster, but to me, everything looked the same. Wasn't no real variety in bikes. So my background, I started off drag racing in '91 and had a good year drag racing. Shop bike wasn't my bike. It was a bike, repo bike we put together out of the shop to go drag racing. And it was a learning experience first year. But got kind of tired of it. And truth is, I had somebody come by in '92. Guy came by the shop in '92 with for a state inspection. Guy had a brand new 900 SS, just bought it, but needed an inspection. Now, a lot of the other dealer didn't inspect it. I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. So we got to talking, and he asked if I wanted to come up to Summit Point. They were having a road race meet that weekend. I want to say it was an AMS CCS race. And went up there and watched, and you could walk around the pits, and it was cheap to get into, relatively cheap. And went up there and watched some races, had a good time. But after while up there, I saw some flyers for or talking to somebody something about some races at Pocono for Formula USA races, which has like I want to say, I don't remember what their classes was. I think they had a Formula 1 and a Formula 2, and what other supporting classes they had. They had more than one. So I decided to go up to Pocono and watch up there at the Pocono Raceway, which is kind of a oval track really, but with road racing through the infield there. And it was fun. Right? What they had there was walking around the pits. They had a Yamaha 500 GP bike was there, which absolutely dominated in the Formula 1 class. But they also had, I think, Team Valvoline Suzuki was there, Suzuki, with a GSXR 1100 punched out to a 1340 burning methanol, and then lightened up as much as you can lighten up a GSXR 1100 because they're a pretty porky bike. They had a bunch of Honda RC30s. This is way before RC45s. They had, I think, Team Dutchman Yamaha was there with a Yamaha OW01, which they're all cool bikes, but they also had some guys racing an older TZ750, a couple of those. Some newer, not newer, new Ducati 851s were out there. And a bunch of TZ250s, and even some older like Ducati 750, like the Reno Leone bikes were out there, I think. I want to say Jimmy Adamo was out there on his Ducati, and a bunch of other people. All different. You had guys. There was somebody out there racing the XR TT Harley. Very, very rare, very vintage. Very rare bike. There were guys on TZ350s, TZ250s. Good variety of bikes all around, which makes for fun racing. Because you already know that the newer big bikes are going to be out front. Of course, the 500 GP bike dominated. But it's also fun watching all the other bikes. You're watching some guy on a TZ250 work his way through the crowd there, which, that's fun. But, good variety of bikes, and they're all giving it their all, which is important. A lot of fun there. But point is, I like a lot of variety in racing. I like to see a guy that's doing his own work. Small team. Like I was a small team. It's basically me and my wife, or me and my wife and somebody else, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I had a lot of support from the dealer I worked from. Of course, it was all support was from the dealer I worked at. He provided the bike, the leathers, the tires, the gas, everything. Entry fees, everything. So, sponsored rider, pretty much. Not a great one, but I have to admit that I'm pretty slow, or was pretty slow. Wasn't the fastest guy in the pack there, but it's a good learning experience. Had a lot of fun doing it. Track days are cool. If you want to go out and do track day, it's a great way to learn. You don't have to actually commit to go racing. If you got a local track or someplace that's fairly local, depending on where you live, go out for a track day. I don't even know how much they cost now. Used to go do them for race practice, tuning the bike in, whatever, because it was cheap. And if you go out to a track day and you're a racer, just realize that you're gonna have to. You might be asked to help out with the track day stuff. Being a lead rider or a chase rider or whatever, that's fun. But point is, get out there and go to some races, wherever they are. If you're in the UK, you already know where the tracks are pretty much. They're not hard to find. You got, you live in Australia, you should already know where they are. I don't know their schedule. I don't know the tracks, and I know a few tracks in England. Well, not know them. I've never been there, but tracks I've heard of, or Germany or wherever. Doesn't matter. You should get out and support them where they're going, because our governments do like to get rid of shit. Whether I'm trying not to go political here, but here it is. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Somebody's friend wants to develop a piece of property, but there's a racetrack there or nearby, and they want to get rid of the racetrack. So they put a bug in somebody's ear about, it'd be nice if this racetrack wasn't there. I'll make a little contribution to your campaign fund if you could help me, legislate this thing out of existence by whatever means necessary. I don't know. It happens. It's been known to happen. I don't necessarily agree with that. We had a local drag strip there in Maryland that, private property had been operating there since late 50s, early 60s. And they come along and was like, well, they're building houses near it. And the people that are moving in there don't like the noise or whatever, probably made up. You don't know. But then again, you got people that move next to an airport, and they know there's an airport there. But they move into an airport, and then once they're there, somebody starts complaining that there's an airport there. And they should make it so there's no planes after 10 or 11 o'clock at night during the week or whatever. So, of course, if somebody says, what, people don't like airports. That you get the point. That's enough of that. So anyway, racing stuff, it's fun, man. You should support it. Get out there and do it. Or, if you don't want to do racing, do a couple of track days, or at least go out and watch and support whoever. It's fun, man. Good chance to go out and hang out and learn some stuff, watch some exciting racing wherever it is. Good racing. Vintage racing is cool, like ARMA, or even wear a vintage here in the United States. ARMA Vintage is cool, especially big event like Mid-Ohio. You've got Mid-Ohio goes on for what, 5 days, 4 or 5 days a week, whatever it is. You got giant swap meet. You got vintage road racing, vintage motocross, vintage dirt track, vintage trials, scrambles, I think. Wide variety of bikes. I was at Mid-Ohio one year. And I don't remember what year it was. I want to say maybe 96. Could have been 97, but I'm pretty sure it was 96. and was pitted next to a guy with a BSA 500 single. And he's road racing it, you know, and cool, man. You know, helping him out with the starter pack and all that shit, because it's, you know, had to use a roller to start it. And I'd push the roller out there to the track and help him start it up and all that crap, and then push it back. And that was my job, helping the guy that's pitted next to me. So he goes out, does his road racing, and we're done road racing for the day. Then he comes back in and he starts taking his bike apart. I'm like, damn, what are you doing, man? So he's converting it over to go dirt track. He's taking crap off, you know, changing the bars, changing the wheels, all that crap to make it dirt track legal. So Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, whatever it was, yeah, so he can go dirt tracking. I want to say it was Saturday night. And does that, and does, you know, he's doing pretty good. And then comes back and he's changing the tires again for Sunday. I want to say it was Sunday night or Sunday afternoon to convert it over to motocross. You know, he's changing the forks out, changing the shocks to jack the bike up, changing the tires out for vintage motocross, all on the same bike. And then races it. So he's road raced it, he's dirt tracked it, motocross, and then he's doing the scrambles too. So they're racing in four different genres of events. And I'm sitting there talking to him. I'm like, man, what do you do now? He says, I'll have to go home and I have to swap the motor out in this thing. He says, I got one spare motor with me in case this one blew up, but I'll have to, when I get back home, I'll have to tear this thing down and totally rebuild it because it'll be cooked from racing it in all these events over the weekend. Like I'll need to put a piston in it and probably rebuild the rod bearings and main bearings and bore the cylinder out and do the valves and valve springs and all kinds of crap. Yeah, I can see that. But shit like that's cool. It just is. Totally cool. Anyway, I need to check my video here to make sure make sure I'm still recording sound, audio, since I had problems with the other one. Okay, so it looks like my mic is still working. I think it is anyway. So get out, go to some events, do some track days, do whatever. I don't know what it costs now to do a track day, but used to do them to go get track time in at the racetrack for tuning or whatever. It could go out and ride all day long. And sometimes they'd ask you to help out being a leader or chase rider with people doing track days. You know, tell them, you know, you need to speed up or you need to slow down or what, you know, your corner speeds are off or whatever. You know, you need to watch your brake markers. You need to watch for other people and you know, whatever else. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. I would imagine it's probably more expensive like everything else now, by probably 2 or 3 times as much. And some of the funner classes, if you want to get involved in racing, some of the funner classes, I don't know what they have now, but used to be the spec class races, which were fairly cheap because you're limited on what you could do with the bike. You know, I remember I raced 883 series, and other than you could do little teeny things to the bike. You couldn't touch the ports. You had to run stock cams, stock carburetor, stock pistons. You could change the suspension out, and you could change the brake pads and the wheels, but that was about it, really. And you had to use stock cast wheels. You couldn't use spoked wheels. But I remember it, and I want to say it was at Pocono one year. I had a guy that I knew that was racing in the Triumph Cup series when they had that, which was all Triumph, whatever they were when they first came out, and had wrecked his Triumph and broke his wrist or whatever. And just to get points. He asked me, he's like, man, I'm already entered in this thing. Can you go ride my bike for me just to get points? I'm like, yeah, like they're not going to know that I'm not you. You know, that's just blatant cheating. But, you know, I did it just because I like to ride the bike. Never ridden one. And took it out for practice, and nobody said anything, just familiarize myself with his bike. And it was, you know, you're expecting, man, it's an inline triple. It's almost 900 cc's. This thing should fly. Me personally, I was slower on that bike than I was on my 883. So this is something that, you know, puts out 20, 30 more horsepower. And it's probably just me not to being familiar with the bike. And it's not my bike, so it was kind of porky to me, kind of slow. I thought it was anyway. And the truth is, it was probably me just not very familiar with the bike. But did it, and, you know, I placed a field of, you know, 30, 40, 50 bikes, 60 bikes, 80 bikes, whatever. I want to say it was like only maybe 20 bikes, if that many. And I want to say I did middle of the pack, like 10th, 11th, 12th, somewhere in there, in the middle. But I guess nowadays they have Triumph Cup or Triumph whatever it is with Bonnevilles. I think somebody told me that they're doing like the Moto Guzzi V7s and something else, you know, all stuff that you can only do so much to the bike. So you know, you can change the exhaust. You know, you can change the valving in the forks, you can change the shocks. You know, you can remap the fuel injection system, basically no engine mods whatsoever. You learn a lot of crap doing spec racing because there's a lot of, not really cheating, there's a lot of stuff you can massage out of the rules. You know, people that were even like in 600 Super Sport, you know, if your bike's demonstrably faster than everybody else, they're probably going to tear you down. You know, so if you're, you know, if your bike is, you're a good rider, but your bike is, you know, if you're pulling 10 seconds a lap on everybody else or everybody else, whatever, yeah, there's probably going to be some questions asked. Or if your bike's doing, you know, 5, 10 miles an hour faster than everybody else's, there's going to be some questions asked. You know, whether you get torn down or not, who knows? But anyway, that's enough about that. I think my wife's she's making cookies, and I need to get this video done and edited to make sure I got sound all the way through it. So, guys, have a great week coming up, and we'll just be continuing around here doing whatever we're doing. Still working on that Sportster back there. Almost done with this 106 S&S Softail clone. Got it all back together, and the carb was dumping gas out of it, so I had to rebuild the carb on it, waiting on some parts for that thing. Anyway, everybody have a great week. Appreciate you watching. Thank you.